Hello everyone, welcome to the Age of Listening channel. On our series of the steps of intuition, they've been put in order, so please look at them in order because they were given to me in order for a specific reason, and because it's a growing story, it's a growing picture. And today I have got here, I'm not sure what I'm going to call this one, but I would see this as a protective tool that you can use when I mean specifically for empaths. It's very difficult sometimes, and a lot of people struggle with it incredibly, and Spirit doesn't want you to do that. And this has been used before. This is not from me, but this is something I found very, very useful, and so I hope it will bless you too. I mean, literally life-changing. Okay. So usually, as I was growing up, I had this thing of I could be around people, but I couldn't be around large groups for more than about 25-30 minutes. Sorry, just have a drink. And I would start to feel their emotions, their frequency kind of dampened down on me, and it felt very heavy, and I got very stressed, and yet I wasn't feeling stressful at all. I wasn't feeling unhappy or paranoid or anything at all, but I could sense all of this emotion from everyone. It got too much, and I found this really useful tool somewhere in a book or online. I can't remember, probably not online, because I was, well, it could have been, I was in my early 30s. So I've adapted it slightly because it helped me, and this is probably why things turn up for me with people surrounded by, because it's all about energy. So in one of my previous ones you saw these symbols, but anyway, God uses what he uses. Right. So I was told that when you're in a situation like this, that you put yourself like a upside down goldfish bowl. Imagine that suddenly going over you when you're feeling too much, right? But it's best to practice this before you go into environments. Don't try and do it while you're in an environment until you've practiced it enough, okay? But practice putting the goldfish bowl over you, which stops the influx of energy that's coming from other people. Then you only have to deal with what's inside. So it gives you a safe place. Then in here, you picture, using your imagination, because God works through our imagination, water, beautiful cleansing water that comes down and just washes you clean. And all of these emotions, and I've got them as arrows really, go into the ground because there's a gap, goes into the ground and is gone, leaving you, yay, in a wonderful place. Bit wet, but you're now going to imagine light, beautiful, loving, unconditional love, light that's washing through this upside down goldfish bowl, drying you completely, filling you up with and cleaning you with this wonderful unconditional love. Because you're in a glass bubble, it also has the thing of being almost thermal. So as you're being washed with all of this unconditional love, it now kind of radiates and bangs off the sides and kind of really concentrates that unconditional love, that peacefulness, that acceptance. Just wonderful. And before you know it, it's glowing out. It's seeping outside the goldfish bowl because it is so powerful. you end up feeling like this. You're a glowing, walking human being of God's love. Now, when I first started to do this, I probably did it on the first day about 50 times. I had to keep doing it and keep doing it to get to this stage. After about, probably a week, and it took a lot of imagination to get there. I had to use my thinking to really sink it in. Okay, so it's not easy when you've not started to do it. After about a week, I was able to kind of do it quite quickly, but it took me, instead of hard thinking, my imagination was able to do it quite freely, and it probably only took me 30 seconds. Now, I've got to be honest, I now actually don't even have to do these steps. I very rarely have to do it, but if I do, I just picture it up and I'm done. Because I'm trying to keep myself savouring. You have to look at the other steps, guys, because you to understand what I'm talking about. I savour and I instantly get in this state anyway. But if I feel I need to, then I just put that up. Or if I think I'm about to go into a situation or pick a phone up to somebody that probably is not going to be brilliantly vibrationally, I might put that up already. So it's a bit like an invisibility cloak that you just can kind of stick on, and you'll be protected from any arrows that are coming at you, because we're very sensitive souls. We're sensitive because bringing up another one, because we are in that channel, and people, we're susceptible to other people's vibrations, but also everybody else's. We're surrounded constantly by different beings all the time. All the time. They're around us all the time, and they're trying to connect with us at whatever frequency we're at. And if we're at a particular frequency, we might get loads of those, or loads of those, or loads of these. So don't be fooled into thinking that it is just, it's nothing to worry about. It's nothing to worry about, but you are open all of the time. And so when you're in this place, you're going to attract really good centered beings that are that have your highest, your highest calling, at the front of their minds. And so when you're at that, it generally, you are only attracting those at your vibration. But if you're in a situation and you're feeling like you need to just pop it back on, pop it back on. Now, I think that, oh yes, I've got one little story. I'm full of them, I am. So I went to, for years and years and years, because I've got a lot of children, I went for decades to mother and baby clubs, and I could stand it for about half an hour, and after that I just felt really edgy. But I sort of did this so I could go to them and enjoy it. And wow, what an experience once I'd mastered this. So I was able to walk in, and I wasn't fazed by anybody else's emotions. And, mother and baby clubs are a hotbed of hormonal unbalances, bless us, but we've just had children. It takes years for hormones to balance, so we've got all sorts of insecurities banging around, and I would feel this a lot. Now, once I installed this, I was able to stick this on, and whatever anybody was feeling or thinking, I took no notice of it. It literally just, fell away. They hit this and I didn't feel anything. Brilliant. But one day I took my son, who was at the time he was a teenager. I dragged him along, on one of his holidays. I said, oh, just keep me company. You can watch your younger brother play and you can have a cup of tea and keep me company. So I dragged him along and we walked in, and he's a little psychic. Anyway, so he came in and we said hello to people. I introduced my son, and before we'd sort of grabbed a cup of tea and sat down, he said, Mum, how can you be in this place? How can you go to places like this? And I looked at him for a bit more clarification. He said, they're all so fake. None of them like you. And I know where he was coming from. What he was saying was that none of them were sincere. And I said to him, honey, you know, but they're being nice. He said, yeah, but they don't mean it. I said, well, they could turn around and say what they really feel, but they're not. They are at least being polite and at least trying to be genuine, you know? And so he was in this state of seeing the insincerity, but because I was in this state, it didn't bother me anymore. And I also could see and understand, at least they were making an effort. That's fine. You know, they were being polite and that's okay. So you see what difference? Your outcome, your emotional feeling is altered when you're in this state because you no longer care what they think and feel about anything or anyone. I can still hear from source. I'm not shutting off, but it is possible to shut off. I can now walk into a building and I choose not to feel what they feel now, and I can just be in that polite space. And you know, unless it's something that's really stark, in which case, you know, you kind of can't help it. But yeah, so I hope that helps you guys. It's a quickie one today, but I hope that helps. And because I hear so many people that for generations, for decades, you know, kind of feel that because they're empathic, they have to shoulder this burden. You don't. You really don't. This is the amazing thing about this. The battle is in the mind. So using this little concept, knowing that the mind is the battleground, and your mind is, fortunately for us, we're given imagination through our feelings. We're able to use our imagination for us, to work for us. And this is one of those. I'm not trying to create, you know, the wheel. This has been used by many people, but I'm telling you how I've, you know, see this myself, and it's my own little version. All right, guys, look forward to step 7. Don't actually know what it is yet, but I'm sure I'll be told, and I'll see you next week.